say, we'll project. We can project. We can project.
Hi, my name's Alex Smith, she, her. I'm the digital literacy specialist and an instructor for Beyond Literacy Philadelphia. We're the largest adult ed provider in the city.
Better? Not better. I'll just talk loud.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Okay.
We can enunciate. Hi, everybody. I work with Alex at Beyond Literacy. We're really excited to join you today. My name is Kieran Farrell. I'm the manager of student support services and a digital navigator with Beyond Literacy. Again, we're really excited to talk about our experiences working with adults in this field.
Okay. I'll just enunciate. You speak to Paul. Okay. Hi, I'm Laura Sato. I'm currently serving my second year as an America Vista with the Excite Center. So I'm technically the America Vista for Digital Inclusion at the Excite Center. I work alongside Andy and with the Digital Navigator program, as well as Northstar digital literacy classes, as well as other grants that are coming down the pipeline. So have my hand in a lot of pots, and I'm excited to talk to you about my experience this year.
Hi everyone, I'm Sylvia Blotta. I'm from the Office of Children and Families with the City of Philly. I'm here because you might have seen emails from me about Northstar, but we're here to support people who are using Northstar digital literacy. So I'm joined by my colleague Charles Heil. He's our professional development manager, and again, we're here to support people who are doing this type of work.
Ooh. Okay, there he goes.
And we do have slides up if we're ready to go.
Do you want me to go first? Okay. All right, so I'm going to jump right to the next slide. As an adult literacy agency, Beyond Literacy has long recognized the need for digital literacy for our learners, whether it's to be able to apply for a job, take a GED test online, be able to find and access their resume. We've always built in digital skill building in our curriculum. We did that through weekly computer labs.
We're gonna try it again.
Okay,
Just keep it a little further.
sure thing. I just put it down, I apologize. I won't put it down. Weekly computer labs, dedicated digital literacy workshops, and on-site case management through our student support program to help support digital skill building and technology support in small group or one-on-one settings. What we found was interesting, though, is that those services were not highly utilized, I would say. If a learner had a very specific digital skill need, they would come to our workshops and our open labs. If they needed to become more familiar with the different skills to take their GED test online or to do some other sort of assessment, or to be able to look for a job online or things like that, we had folks coming for that. But pretty much people utilized their phones, got along with what they needed to do, and that was it. And then COVID came, right? And suddenly the whole issue of digital access and inclusion became a necessity to be able to function. So operational devices, access to reliable and affordable internet, and adequate digital literacy skills to be able to utilize all those things became a major determinant of being able to function. So we worked hard to source devices to give our learners so they can learn online, continue classes. All of our classes quickly became online classes so people could continue their education. We had to figure out how to help people connect to the internet who were living in often transitional or unstable housing situations. We had to figure out how to provide intensive digital literacy and tech support over the phone, which is not something I'd done before, and which definitely was a learning curve for our staff. And we had to keep learners engaged through those constant challenges of tech issues and things like that. So those were things that we really had to put new focus on as an agency. Luckily, we had a lot of support from the city, corporate sponsors and community sponsors, so that we could expand our outreach, expand our digital literacy offerings, and source more devices for learners. A big part of that was connecting with the city as a digital navigation agency. So we were able to use a lot of those resources to support our learners, but then also support, city residents as a whole. We had long utilized Northstar, but in a very basic, basic functions. So we're really happy to be able to expand on that program. And we've just recently launched our digital literacy, Beyond Literacy Mobile Learning Lab, which actually just launched this week. And what we hope to be able to do with that is bring more of these services into the communities that need it. Connect more people to digital skills workshops, offer more tech support and resources, and really support the push to have all eligible residents in the city of Philadelphia have and benefit from that ACP, the Affordable Connectivity Program. So we're really excited. Hopefully you'll see our bus at a KIT center near you. And I'm gonna actually turn it over to my colleague, Alex, who's done a tremendous amount of work around Northstar in our program.
Thank you. Okay, so I just want to provide a little bit of kind of, feedback after a year using Northstar in the classroom. Just some of my experiences as an educator using the platform, benefits that we've found, and also some areas where we've had to kind of provide extra resources and fill in. So just to kind of get started with the learners who we are working with. So some but not all of the learners in the digital literacy classes that I teach are also taking other classes with Beyond Literacy. So they would be pursuing either their diploma or learning English as a second language. We've also got lots of other folks from the community. Many of our digital literacy learners are they're working people or job seekers who are looking to expand job skills. But we've also got a number of folks who are retired and just looking to build daily life skills through digital literacy. And I know that most of you are probably familiar with Northstar, but did want to just give a bit of an overview. So Northstar is basically has 3 different components. There are the assessments in 15 different areas of digital literacy. And those are divided up into groups: essential computer skills, that's things like computer basics, internet basics, email, Microsoft Windows. Then essential software skills, that's the Microsoft Office suite and Google Docs. And then technology and daily life, which includes a number of other kind of task-specific or interest-specific modules. And so for all of those assessments, people can work towards passing them, and once they pass them, they earn a certificate. But then, moving just beyond the assessment, Northstar offers an online learning platform. Northstar Online Learning supports study and practice in class and at home in 9 of those areas. And finally, it also offers a classroom curriculum in all 15 of those areas. And that's been a really good resource, offering hands-on activities that people can do, getting off of the Northstar website and actually engaging with the software that they're learning. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about our experiences using Northstar as educators over the past year. And this is mostly coming out of the classes that I've been teaching at Beyond Literacy. Now, our experiences with the assessments, basically it's a wonderful way to gauge where learners are when they come into the class. So it's a way to answer the question, do learners need support with basic digital literacy? And we find that also the certificates offer a lot of incentive for folks to move on to the next assessment and try to kind of build out their portfolio of certificates. And I'm really proud to say we've had a number of graduates who have obtained most of or all of the Northstar certificates it's possible to obtain. So that's been pretty cool. And one piece of feedback that I would offer, though, is that the computer basics assessment, which is the initial one that you would take to assess basic skills, it's actually a rather high bar to clear for people with really entry-level computer literacy. And so we've got a lot of learners. I've got folks who I've been working with for the past 6 or 8 months who have not passed the computer basics assessment, who are really working through the fundamentals. All right, so moving on to Northstar Online Learning. Again, it's been a really strong and helpful resource. And there are a few things to be aware. So if you're thinking of implementing Northstar Online Learning, budget a little bit of time for setup. Getting learners registered is a little bit of a task, especially folks who might not know their email password, for example. So there can sometimes be a few steps to go through. It can be very quick, or it can take a little while. And I found that as an in-the-classroom tool, and I actually just learned this term, at-the-elbow service. If you're providing at-the-elbow service with Northstar Online Learning, it is good for basically anybody. I've had really just about all of the learners who I've interacted with have engaged with Northstar Online Learning and, for the most part, have shared positive feedback about it. Learning at home with Northstar can be a bit more of a challenge, especially for folks who are working on basic computer literacy. And so, I would not assume if you've got a population of folks who are really wanting to work on the basics, or where many people are wanting to work on the basics, I wouldn't just assume that give them the account and they can run with it. That's not going to be the case for everybody. There are places people communicate, they'll get stuck. They're not sure how to move forward to, the next assignment, the next question, and people can get frustrated without that at-the-elbow support. Oops, I was not, okay, yes. There we go. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the Northstar curriculum. So, supplementing Northstar with the Northstar curriculum has honestly been a really helpful thing for us. So, the curriculum actually consists of a lot of different lesson plans, which we haven't really utilized every single lesson plan. The way we use it is basically as a bank of assignments that we can give to learners as they need them. So most of the learners in our classes are they're self-paced. They are working on the skills that they want to learn. And so basically I'll be there to support their progress and support them with the next project to work on. And then in addition, we'll do some class instruction. We'll bring people together. But basically, for folks who have moved past that kind of computer basics module, that initial module, I've found that there's really ample instructional materials in the Northstar curriculum, and it at least gives people a good start, and then, sometimes they can move on to projects that, that inspire them, that they would like to do. Whether it's working on a resume, building a presentation that they're going to use in their outside life. So, there is still kind of a gap at the more basic level with the Northstar curriculum. Computer basics is one module, and that module can actually encompass many months of learning for folks who are really beginning. So I have found it useful to supplement Northstar. As I mentioned, I'll teach lessons in topics that would be of more general interest to folks in the class. Sometimes it's using the Northstar curriculum, often it isn't. Just kind of, well, for example, we recently went through how to check voter registration and, if needed, get registered using the vote.pa.gov website. And in addition, I've been seeking out more self-paced entry-level resources that people can use. So folks who have not passed that computer basics assessment, you can only go through that one module in Northstar Online Learning so many times, and those few curriculum assignments so many times. So, what are the additional things that we can be providing? And so, actually in the process of trying to, compile a little bit more of a resource base that we can make available to all of our instructors and, just for additional tools that complement Northstar. So hopefully that's been some useful feedback on our experiences. And again, those are experiences teaching 2 sections focused on using Northstar in the classroom. Both sections meet once per week. We've had 58 learners and hope to have many more. So any questions for myself or Kieran?
Hi there. We were chatting a bit earlier about reading literacy. How would you rate the Northstar materials for reading accessibility for people with less than a high school graduate's level? And by extension, is there any pairing of the Northstar modules with, say, their own or a vendor's reading literacy boosters?
I'm really, really glad that you asked that. So I'm not aware of any pairing. There could be something that I'm not aware of. But that has been a definite barrier for a number of learners. So Northstar, and I mean, a lot of these skills in general do require a fair amount of, your reading menu options, and there are a lot of written instructions that you have to read as well in the Northstar online learning platform and the assessments, all of that. So they do try, I think. They do offer a lot of audio instruction to complement written instruction, but I have actually found that it's definitely been a barrier for numerous learners.
I have one more.
No.
In my experience, a lot of low digital literacy learners now are essentially using only mobile as the curriculum geared towards mobile first users.
No, it's really, there is some coverage of mobile skills, but it's very limited.
Okay.
No, sorry. You got any more additional information about for people that's not passing the assessment? You said you got additional information like more training or something like that?
It's really been very piecemeal. I'm still working on it. Yeah, I mean, a few things just that I could recommend. For typing skills, I use Typing Club. That one's great. For mouse skills, there's this really old thing that was created by, I believe it's the Tampa Library, but it's actually a really good tutorial to basically, navigating the screen with the mouse. Microsoft has some digital literacy content that is okay, for learning the basics of Windows. And I do a lot of work with people using courseware that they might be needing to use in their classes if they're enrolled in other classes with us. So just doing kind of task-based things like that.
Just quickly to your point, I know Alex actually has to go teach her digital skills class over in West Philly, so we're going to let her go. But just that point about learners' tendency to try to use their cell phone for everything, it really is not conducive to most adult education platforms, online learning, assessments. Having a functional device with reliable internet is really essential for all learners, but these platforms as well, obviously.
Could I add one more quickly?
Sure.
What does the ideal setup look like for a room? What kind of space and materials is ideal for a class if you're going to do the instruction, the instructor-led instruction?
That's a good question. So the way that we've set our room up, we have learners using laptops, and then we have a D10 screen in front. You wouldn't actually need to use a D10 if you're doing in-person only. But we do our classes exclusively in person. I think for folks at the more basic level, that's pretty necessary for, again, that at the shoulder support. And yeah, I think, having some front-facing computers so that there can be that kind of, the instructor can come around behind, but can also sort of, deliver instruction to the class if you're doing some demonstrations. I always kind of demonstrate things click by click, sharing my screen on the big screen. I find that can be really helpful so that people can model it very closely.
Thank you.
We're going to turn it over to Drexel now.
Hi, I'm Laura again. We've been mentioning a lot about the Digital Navigator program, and I'm like, let's just talk about what it is, because I feel like you might be hearing a lot about digital navigators, but you might not actually know what that all fully encompasses. So a digital navigator is like a digital support staff for our community. For example, the Digital Navigator program at Drexel specifically focuses on the West Philadelphia community, but that is not a limit. We take calls from everywhere. So it provides basic one-on-one assistance with finding internet connectivity. So whether that's connecting them to PHL Connect Ed, or Internet Essentials, or the Affordable Connectivity Program, basic device assistance over the phone, so basic tech help over the phone, and then just referrals to other organizations that they might need help with as well is something we found we've been doing a lot more recently, as well as connect people to digital skills courses, which is where this Northstar really comes into play. So we've been able to connect people from digital navigators automatically to the Northstar classes if they request them or they need them in person. And the top 3 digital navigation requests we've received, and I think this is just general across all the board, is obtaining a discounted or free device, whether that be a laptop, desktop, or tablet. Signing up for free or affordable internet connectivity is another one. And the third one, we've been seeing this a lot more recently, finding and enrolling in digital literacy and adult education programs, which we've used Northstar as one of those things the city has kind of doled out for this. So here are some highlights over the past 2-3 years of the Digital Navigator at Drexel, specifically. I entered July of 2021, but this program started in March of 2020. Quick highlights, we've served over 300 residents. We've distributed over 360 computers. We're lucky because Drexel actually had a donation of computers, so we actually have refurbished desktops that we've been giving out when people have addressed need for them. We've trained over 20 digital navigators. Most of them are university students. So when we were talking about earlier about what's the university side of this, we've actually been training students on how to be digital navigators, either giving their time as volunteers or being part-time workers for us. And we provided computers to 20 community organizations. So we do offer computers to organizations like, hey, we need to replace our computers in a computer lab. Can you help us? And we've been able to help them through that program as well. Regarding training and outreach programs, we luckily have an outreach team who are amazing, who table at events, who go to school events to try to get people aware of the internet affordability projects that are going on, as well as get them signed up for these courses as well. So currently, as of this morning when I checked, we have over 150 residents enrolled online in these classes. That doesn't mean they're all currently doing coursework. As we know, it's very hard to get people from the registration point to the actual logging in and taking classes point. So that's something we're working on to try to get calling people multiple times, being like, hey, we've registered for this. Are you still interested in doing this? Or would you rather want a one-on-one approach? And then we can kind of figure out what best works for them. And what's actually been really helpful is we partnered with the Beachville Family Learning Center. It was one of the original Key Spot labs that Andy started up at Drexel. And we've really partnered with them to offer Northstar. So we have accounts with them as well. And so the lab's on the left side, and similar to what Beyond Literacy does, it's basically like a classroom desktop setup with one screen pointing forward and then a person doing over the shoulder, making sure that they know what they're doing. They can ask as many questions as they want as well. So we offered a self-paced, which is what you think of being like completely virtual. People can do it on their own time. We see a lot of parents doing this on the weekend or after the kids go to school. So you'll see them active like on Saturdays and Sundays or during the day or even during the late evening sometimes. So that's really good for those parents. But also they offer classes at the lab Tuesday through Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. We've had 8 to 15 people show up to our labs for these classes. So they've been a really good resource for us to utilize. People have been going through the curriculum so quickly in these classes, it's kind of hard to keep up sometimes. But yeah, so it's been really great to utilize this is a community computer lab as a way to also be like, hey, you come here all the time. Do you need help getting internet? And the amount of people who are still paying for internet that don't have to be paying internet, I'm like, do you know about the ACP program? You could be getting internet for free at home. Or do you need a device? I can help you get a device at home. So you can come to the lab still, but people actually go into the lab to use the internet while on their new computer we gave them, which I think that's what we're ultimately looking for, is people to be like, hey, I feel more comfortable in this, because we have a lot of people who have retired but are now coming back into the job market, and they're like, I don't know how to use technology. I don't know how to put an application in online. And it's kind of like, okay, let's start digital skills classes, and then I'll help you with your resume. And then we can go from there. So it's been a really good thing to utilize this both community-based community center as well as digital navigators to kind of mesh together and become one. And then we're like, how can we help you? Right? Can we help you with digital skills classes? Do you need a device? Or do you need to refer to somebody outside the organization for ESL or for Beyond Literacy? So it's been a really good coalition of kind of these three organizations. We're talking all the time and being like, what are you doing? Can you help me with this issue? Can I ask you this question? And that's been really great to utilize. So, yeah, thank you. Questions?
What do you feel makes someone a good navigator? Both what kind of technical skills do they have to have, and then also more soft skills communication? Who's your ideal navigator, I guess?
I mean, we can always train people on the technological side of things. We need people who really like to talk to people, right? These are community members often reaching out to you. They may be a little bit I don't know, a little bit tentative, because building trust is very important with community members, especially I'm from a university setting, so there's history there, definitely history there. So you have to first build the community, and then you just need people who want to talk to people, who are willing to speak on the phone, because we don't speak on the phone as much. But most of our people who call us don't do email. They only do phone. So having people who can talk on the phone and walk people through issues on the phone, very important. We can teach all the tech stuff. You just need to be able to be personable and understanding and be willing to stay on the phone for 25 minutes to help somebody through an issue. Or longer. ACP is 2 or 3 hours sometimes calls. Yes.
I would say also intuition as well. So trying to read between the lines as they're trying to tell you certain things, and saying, okay, maybe this is the actual issue. And trying to piece things together while you're talking to them. Yeah.
Hi. 2 questions about your distributions. First, do you find that your clients are happy and generally use desktops instead of like mobiles or laptops? And two, have you all started or attempted any distribution of Google Flex, and what have your results been? I see you looking at
So,
Andy.
yeah.
You don't take these.
Yeah.
I don't know what Google Flex is. First
Yeah.
of all.
I didn't know either.
The Chrome OS Flex, it's basically a Linux distribution.
I
that
know what you're
uses
talking about,
Chrome.
yeah. So no, we have Windows 10, so all of our computers, all of our desktops come with Windows 10, we give a webcam out, headset, Wi-Fi card, all that. So that all comes with, so they can do Zoom, they can do virtual right from the desktop.
Mhm.
So laptops are few and far, hard
Of
to
course.
Really
give
hard.
out, we don't have that many. We do have some from Comcast we give out as incentives for Northstar.
Right.
So I think a lot of people get upset when we refer them out to other Northstar programs because they don't give out the laptops.
Yeah.
Fair.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
the
we do
access.
have new, Comcast gave us a great donation of laptops that we use as incentives.
Oh, right.
We've given about 30 of those laptops so far. Most of them within the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about expanding the digital literacy skills and then helping someone with their resume. With your participants, have you started to track data on how the digital literacy has expanded their ability in the workforce or to get employment?
Well, I've been mostly working, I haven't been collecting data, but I have been collecting qualitative data, like when they tell me, right? So Miss Andy, who goes to the lab all the time, I see her every single Tuesday. I go to the lab every single Tuesday afternoon, and she always is there to talk to me. But she always updates me on like how many interviews she's had that week, right? And I know that they're starting to collect data about resume workshops and career workshops and career readiness. So that's something that they're definitely doing, and it's definitely coming out of the pandemic as well, because a lot of all these programs came to a pause, not a stop, but a pause during the pandemic, and they're trying to find their footing and being like, okay, what's the community need now? Because it might have changed, or it might have been the same. So, yeah, it's definitely we're definitely looking towards they're definitely collecting data now on interest regarding resume workshops, cover letter writing, interview prep, and that kind of things. But yes, that's definitely happening now.
Thank you.
I'll also make a quick comment regarding the question about the qualities for a good digital navigator. I would definitely say there's a case management component to it. So, we all know we can't just give a referral and necessarily know or expect, follow through. So, a digital navigator really should be there to, not just do the warm, handoff referral, but also follow through on whether the service was received or what kind of issues might have impacted that. Maybe just a nudge, encouragement, or really problem solving if there was an issue. So there's definitely, that follow through piece is really important to help people connect to the service.
One more connection I'll make, as well as Drexel's Goodwin College for Professional Services is doing, they have what's called the Skills Hub, and that is basically entry-level training into advanced manufacturing. They're working with some groups there. There. And we've just recently made the connection of they have new recruits there that don't have the digital skills to actually do the training. So we actually they're utilizing Northstar now. They have the logins, they can create accounts, so they're actually doing Northstar first for folks that need it in their program, and then continuing on to that training. So which is just a great connection we're seeing, and trying to make more of those connections as well. All right, we're running a bit out of time, but why don't you ask a question? Well, Sylvia, do you want to? I'll get your slides up and well,
I
yeah.
just have one more question. So I'm curious, because you're doing a lot of work with adults, has there been any connection with the local career link to support those digital literacy skills when expanding career readiness? Is
Yes.
there-
Well, having Sylvia here from the Office of Children and Family, they can help that. Help answer that.
Thank you.
Yeah. What did you say?
Just put it in the presentation, a slideshow. You can handle the tech. There you go. All right.
Okay. Yeah, so Charles and I are from Office of Children and Families, Adult Education. And we are supporting people in Philadelphia who are using Northstar with their learners. So we can help support in a number of ways. One, we can cover the cost of your Northstar subscription. So if you are an organization that does not use Northstar, but you're interested in using Northstar, our emails will be on the next slide. So you can reach out to us, let us know if you need that covered. If you're an organization that already uses Northstar and you pay for your own subscription, still talk to us because we could cover you after your current one ends. We can also meet with you to help think through how to use Northstar best with your circumstances, with your capacity, your staff capacity, your technological capacity. So yeah, we can think about like, is it best for you to just give out Northstar Online Learning to your learners, or is it best to have like a more structured class? We can kind of talk about that. We also are giving feedback to the people who make Northstar. So we're working with them so that if we hear like there's a lot of similar feedback from programs, we let them know like, hey, we need to fix this, or this is working really well. So we have that connection to them. And then Charles, who's our professional development manager, we work together. We're planning out a series of professional development workshops. So for anyone who's doing that direct instruction, we will have roundtables and webinars and things like that throughout the year. I think I covered everything.
I think you did.
Okay. Yes. Next slide. So this is just our emails. Please email us again if you need a Northstar subscription, if you need to renew yours, or if you just want to talk to us about Northstar. Questions?
Is there a connection to other literacy skills, other things like that?
So no, but one thing that we are going to do in our roundtables is talk about, yes, using digital literacy in, let's say, an English language learning class, using digital literacy in a GED class, something like that, and where people can share out best practices. We're not actually doing that work in a classroom, so we want to hear from people who are doing that. But there are some programs around Philly that are kind of doing some of that overlap between digital literacy and other kind of traditional forms of adult education. So that is going to be an ongoing conversation.
I have a question. I don't think I'm definitely going to reach out to you. So I teach a class for the early childhood workforce is getting the CDA credential. A lot of them, of course, need support when it comes to digital literacy. It's been I want to say, a little bit of an obstacle. I'm fortunate to put a little bit of money in the budget because I'm grant funded, but I'm excited to, you can imagine how I really need to talk to you.
Yes.
Because
come talk to us. Yes.
Yeah, I need to do a pre-test. So I was just wanting to talk about that possibility. You kind of answered my question because there's a connection too with the GED, and I also work with a lot of English language learners too. Yeah, see the whole kit and caboodles. And the issue is the programs that are up here are beautiful, but my adults are working adults, and they work long hours. So your programs are accessible to them. So I have to build it into my model, you know, so I believe in not, work collaborating together, smarter, not harder. So that's my issue there. So if you have anything else, I mean, I know we probably need to talk on the side, but I'm like, this is beautiful, but I gotta work with adults that they're not done until 6, 7 in the evening. You can't expect them to make a class like that. So I'm looking for ways to infiltrate that already in my curriculum.
Yeah, and definitely not every organization is doing like you're saying, like something that's like a dedicated class twice a week, this many hours. People interweave Northstar into lots of different programs. So yeah, we could definitely talk about that more, and that is something we want to bring as a larger conversation. Like, how are people doing this? And also like getting people involved in digital literacy. Even though someone might need help with a computer, that's not always like the driving force to get to a class. I want computer help. It's sometimes like, I want a GED. Oh, while you're here, let's also get you computer help. So we can talk about that.
One thing I'll point out is I like the versatility of Northstar and the flexibility, and you can really take elements and use it in however it best fits your programming. So, yeah.
I'll just follow up really quickly with your point about we partner with CareerLink. So yeah, so we kind of we'll do some support on our end, but they're definitely a referral partner for workforce services. For sure.
One more question for the City of New York's hosting digital navigators. Is there room for unpaid teenage interns to participate as digital navigators, particularly if there are staff or senior navigators that can act as mentors for those interns?
I think we'll
Drexel
Yeah.
hosts.
Drexel will do it?
Drexel hosts. Jill's here. Yeah.
So I work with Laura at the Excite Center. I
Okay.
handle all our student programs. So we do host interns throughout the year. The only tricky thing is there's a lot of forms and everybody has to be cleared and all of that good stuff in order
Sure.
for them to start. And then we have to make sure that there's a mentor that can be with them to sort of give them the lay of the land. But yeah,
Great.
it's definitely
Can I
something
follow
that.
with you later?
Yeah.
Any other questions from anyone? Well, okay.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks so much, everyone. Yeah, it was great.